Love it or hate it, Favela is in the ranked, unranked pool right now, so I thought I'd do a quick little video on what I think is an acceptable strategy, given that we don't have a high-level competitive understanding of how this map plays out. We just have sort of the ranked monkey view of how to play it. This is all hypothetical, but this is just a defense strategy based on what I've seen. So to somewhat keep with the format of what I typically do, we're going to start with the theory of why I think this defense works, and then we'll explain it. And I have a little demonstration clip for this one, sort of. So starting with the theory, right? For most attacks I've noticed, and again, this isn't any sort of rigorous statistical analysis, this is just from playing it in the headshot event mode and from playing unranked games, most people enter from garage stairs and push this way, either into storage or down towards coin farm. They come down red stairs and either try to get this wall into hacker den, because that's what Ubisoft decided to call that room, or push into storage, or people will come up yellow and push into bunks, or continue this through red hall. So this strategy aims to funnel people that come from any of these avenues so that they are easy to kill, because people that are easy to kill make it easy to win rounds. So let's look at the lineup. I'm not going to repopulate everything on screen. I'm just going to kind of highlight elements as I'm explaining them. For starters, we're going to run a smoke. We're going to run a mute. We're going to run a Jaeger. We're going to run a castle. And then we're going to run a Goyu. Right, those are the ops. And each one has a specific role. Kind of explain it as we go through, right? Let's start with the castle. Castle is an unusual pick for a default strat, but what I really wanted to do here is take these lanes and make them more funnely, right? So for starters, your castle is going to go on the door between garage stairs and storage. This makes it harder for people to just sprint down these stairs, run straight into storage, because they have to deal with the barricade somehow. So it creates more of a funnel, so people have to either come up or down garage stairs and funnel towards the smoke setup, which will be explained shortly. The next castle barricade is going to be on the door from top yellow into bunks. And this is pretty much the same reason as the garbage stairs one. It's to prevent people from just running up yellow and running immediately into bunks. And then the final castle is on the door to office, because this is outside, this whole area outside right here. So people can just hop in through this window and then hit site if this isn't blocked off. So once again, this just creates a funnel here through the office area. All right, so that's the castles we're running. And again, castle is really just a funnel operator. This is just the first thing I thought of when making this. I suppose you could technically do an Aruni, but that's much easier to clear. So now that we've got these funnels, right? Basically it's this funnel into red hall, this one into garage, and then this one into office. How do we strengthen that position? And my thought was shields, right? Deployable shields. So that's why we've got a smoke and a Goyu. Both of their primary purpose is for their deployable shields and for their error denial capabilities. Right, obviously we've got smoke set up on garbage because I feel like garbage is the most common, and this deployable shield allows him to just watch this funnel and smoke it off as people pressure him, maybe get some free picks by doing some jiggle peeking. Smoke doesn't really have to be too aggressive here. All he has to do is just control this lane, because again, this is basically just a second floor extension that focuses on lane control. So I chose Goyu because I wanted some more shields and I felt like he was a decent operator, although right after the patch you might be able to do Tachanka as well. The only thing is Goyu brings 2 deployable shields, whereas Tachanka brings 1. So that subject to change with the upcoming Goyu nerf, where they're removing his shields and just giving him a gas tank, but for now this is what I've decided to do. So one shield is going to go on the door into storage from the red hall. This allows someone to play behind that and watch the red hall lane. And the other deployable shield here I've got set up in bunks. And this is because if you notice, most of the wall between bunks and the other rooms are reinforced off. And so that just leaves the one singular door right here. Obviously that is sort of a funnel for the defenders. You don't really want that. So what I've decided to do is make a rotate over here and set up a deployable on it. So that means that whoever's playing in this position can kind of float in between the door and the rotate playing behind the deployable shield. Okay, so that explains the castle, the smoke, and the Goyu. Jaeger is a pretty obvious choice if you're running deployable shields. Right now we've got this set up. We've got the castle to funnel. We've got deployable shields to hold those funnels, and now we want to protect those deployable shields, right? That's a pretty logical thing to do. So we've got As I'm anticipating the garbage take being the primary avenue, feel free to rotate these ADSs, but I've dedicated 2 to Smoke's deployable and 1 to the deployable in Red Hall, because this I think should provide sufficient coverage, give at least enough time for the players on these deployables to hold out, waste enough time, and rotate away if these ADSs do get cleared. And the final operator is a mute, and this I will briefly explain and go into more detail as I say the reinforcements, but basically mute is used for hard breach denial in 2 places and for intel denial / utility soak in 2 places. Okay, so let's actually go over the setup of the site, right? First thing we're going to do, we've got to get Armory double reinforced off, because if you have the Armory wall open and you have this window control, you can pretty effectively clear out storage. Makes it very uncomfortable for defenders to play in here, right? So we want this reinforced. Next thing we're going to do is reinforce off the wall from Red Hall into Hacker Den. Same reason pretty much. If this is soft, there's some sneaky little ash that could come down, ash this, and then she gets long angles into a lot of the site. And Hacker Den is also a really good place for rotates. You know, it kind of connects the 2 sites. It provides alternative routes. So we want to protect this area. Next thing we want to do is have a reinforcement on the right side of the Hacker Den wall into storage and a rotate on the other side. And what this allows you to do is Jaeger can easily fall back off this deployable if it gets cleared, play in Hacker Den. He can still play close to the door if he needs to, but it provides an alternative fallback route as opposed to just falling straight back into storage. And this reinforcement protects the rotate, right? If you're peeking from this window, and the cover right here, these little boxes protect his rotate, but obviously if he gets in here, and again, you have some sort of soft obstruction to just open this wall, that denies pretty much all the playability in Hacker Den. So this reinforcement's here to protect the playability in Hacker Den. And the last reinforcements that I've elected to use, although there's still 1 remaining technically on this strat, there's going to be 3 on the wall from bunks into coin farm, 2 on the left side of the door, 1 on the right side of the door, and then a rotate on the far right panel of the wall, full size rotate. And then there's going to be 1 reinforcement on the right side of the wall from bunks into hacker, and then feet holes on the left side of the wall from bunks into hacker. So these reinforcements are pretty much the same as the other ones, just making sure we have playable areas. If this castle barricade isn't here on the bunks to top yellow door and any of these walls are soft, then that allows pretty long lines of sight and can make things uncomfortable for smoke. Now normally you might want to reinforce off where I've elected to put feet holes, but I think that provides strong post playability, assuming that they are going to clear this castle barricade. It means that you can still have someone play in Hacker Den and watch the walk-in into bunks. So there's that pretty strong cross. Okay, so that's the setup, and I hope that explains why the mute is here, right? We've got these 2 reinforcements on the armory wall and on the hacker wall that we want to protect from hard breach denial, because those are pretty vital. If you clear either of these 2, it provides some uncomfortably long lines of sight for the defenders to play against. And then the last 2 mute jammers I've elected to use on what I feel are the most critical castle barricades. Right, the first one is on the garbage door, on the door from storage into garbage. That not only denies some drones, but it also means they can't just come up and place a breach charge or whatever on it. And then for a parallel reason, the door from bunks to yellow is also mute jammed. Okay, so that's the site setup. I don't really have a typical way that this could be played out. Right here in the setup we've got Smoke watching garbage, we've got Jaeger watching red, and the reason I set this up is because Jaeger has a pretty good gun, so he's not only able to gun for Red Hall, but because you can actually get a line of sight into top yellow, and this castle barricade kind of forces people that come up here to have to contend with his line of sight, then he's going to be able to contend those long-range gunfights. So that's why I placed him there. And Smoke is on this deployable facing garbage because his canisters allow him to kind of deny this push, waste a lot of time. And if the player is decently talented enough with the SMG-11, you could also get a couple free kills here. The other 3 players are kind of placed somewhat arbitrarily. I placed Goyo behind this deployable because with the Vector, I feel like he has more fragging potential than, say, Mute with the SMG-11 or Castle with the UMP. So he can play this Bunk's position a little bit longer than either the others 2 would be able to. I have Mute starting out in bunks to support Goyo because inevitably someone's going to hop into this, right? And so you can just kind of swing this, peek him with the shotgun, and there's that side of the push denied. But of course, Mute and Castle are both sort of free to play around. But the goal here is crossfires, right? So Jaeger's got one line of sight, Smoke's got another, and ideally, whichever one is currently being pushed, then Castle should support that person, and then Mute should support Goyo. Of course, there's no way for them to push all 4 areas of entrance, right? Top yellow / red, office, garbage, and armory in such a way that you need a crossfire on all 4 of those positions, because that isn't possible. So Castle and Mute have to kind of play things by ear and just support their team. But yeah, this is the strat. This was created without any sort of actual gameplay into Favela, and we just kind of tried it out to see if it worked, and here are those results. I do want to quickly note that this round was filmed with 2 randoms. It was only a 3 stack, so we did our best to recreate the strat to the best of our ability, but there's only so much you can do when you're using a 5-man strat and you have 3 people, but I believe the principles still apply.
Did I still reinforce armory wall? Or no?
Yeah, like literally just play the exact same way really.
Is that what that room's called?
Yeah, it's called armory. I was like, how the fuck are we going to the same exact site? Okay, it's floor holes or no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
On both sides or just one?
Do the side closest to the door. Could you not raise me? Thank you.
So like that? Is that good? Or do you want more?
I help.
So, those 4 holes good? Wow, they have quick fucking shotgun.
On your left, Rook. Castle.
Rook. How much garbage there is? What am I doing right now?
Second floor, trash shoot. Stairs.
Breaking into office.
You smoke right on pink, next to the shield on your left.
Thank you.
Nice. Another one in office. Sound call. You're better.
On drop.
So much better.
Someone else drop.
I think there's another one in office. I don't really know. Yeah, but I'll do one, but I'll take your spot.
Last one dropped below last time.
Second floor, trash shoot stairs.
Okay.
So,
Wait, how do I have another castle barrier?
One of our teammates probably took it off.
I guess. Good games, boys. Good games. Look at this.